Hey, welcome back to the Untold Facts. Today, we're tackling a question that's got everyone talking. Why is the US still buying Russian oil despite sanctions? And is this a case of American hypocrisy? Let's dive in. Back in March 2022, right after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the US banned direct imports of Russian crude oil and gas. The goal was clear: starve Russia's war machine by cutting off its oil revenue. President Biden signed an executive order, and it seemed like a bold move. But here's the twist: Russian oil is still finding its way to American gas stations. How? Through a sneaky loophole. According to a 2023 Global Witness report, 30 million barrels of fuel made from Russian crude were imported to the US in the first 9 months of 2023 alone. That's worth at least $180 million to the Kremlin. Here's how it works. Russian oil is shipped to countries like India or Turkey, where it's refined into gasoline, diesel, or jet fuel. Once it's transformed, it's no longer considered Russian, so it's legally imported by US companies like Shell and BP. In 2024, the US imported $3.7 billion in goods from Russia, including refined petroleum products, according to the United Nations Comtrade database. Now, let's talk numbers. In October and November 2023, the U.S. Energy Information Administration reported small direct imports of Russian oil: 36,800 and 9,900 barrels, respectively, worth about $3.5 million. These were allowed under special treasury licenses, but they're just the tip of the iceberg. The real issue is the laundered oil coming through third countries. For example, India's Jamnagar refinery, partly owned by Russian company Rosneft, sent $135 million worth of fuel to the US between January 2024 and January 2025, per Newsweek. That's a lot of cash flowing indirectly to Russia. So why does this matter? The US has been loud about isolating Russia, pushing allies to enforce sanctions, and even threatening tariffs on countries like India for buying Russian oil. President Trump, in 2025, announced a 25% tariff on India, citing their Russian oil purchases as an irritant. Yet, the US is doing the same thing through this refining loophole. Critics, like former Indian Foreign Secretary Kanwal Sibal, have called out the double standard, saying the US can't criticize others while importing Russian-derived fuel. But here's the other side. Cutting off all Russian oil could spike gas prices in the US, hitting consumers hard. In 2021, Russian oil was only 8% of US imports, so the direct ban didn't hurt much. But globally, Russia exports for to 5 million barrels daily, and disrupting that could destabilize markets. Some argue the US is just being pragmatic, balancing energy needs with sanctions. Still, when you're preaching one thing and doing another, it's hard to dodge the hypocrisy label. What's the fix? Lawmakers like Texas Democrat Lloyd Doggett have proposed bills like the Ending Importation of Laundered Russian Oil Act to close the loophole. Others say the US needs to invest in alternative energy to reduce reliance on foreign oil altogether. But until then, Russian oil keeps sneaking in, and the accusations of double dealing won't stop. So, what's your take? Is the US playing a hypocritical game, or is this just the reality of global trade? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more deep dives.